Is that thing in my face?
Yes, it's on your
No,
face.
it has your whole desk.
It's got your
No, I
desk.
was talking about the camera.
No, you're
I
good.
could just
No,
make-
it's not.
I can make it like a microphone.
Do you know anything about Malcolm X?
No.
Really?
Really?
All right.
He was another civil activist leader with Martin Luther King. So what do you know about Malcolm X?
I know that he was pretty heavy into the civil rights movement and stuff like that, and he had a couple of issues with like Martin Luther King's approach to civil rights and gaining civil rights.
He was Islamic, and he was Christian first, and then he converted, I think, and he was part of Nation.
Okay, so how much do you know about Malcolm X?
A little less. Than
Okay.
A little.
So rattle off some facts about him, if any.
He was African American. He might have been active during the same time as Martin Luther King. He was more violent in the revolution toward ethnic equality.
I know MLK was more about like peaceful protests in order to get civil rights and anything like that, whereas Malcolm X was more forceful about it. But
What his beliefs were and what his approach towards civil rights was.
Nonviolent protest.
All right.
One of the most remembered civil activists, and that his speeches helped gain weight within civil rights.
He was an African American. He lived in the mid 1990s, which was the 20th century. He was assassinated. He led the nonviolent movement for equality based on race.
They were both leaders of the civil rights movement.
And Martin Luther King, I think of freedom.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Apart from like I had a great speech and marching on protest and the letters in the jail and all that.
Michael King Jr., but later had his name changed to Mark. Martin Luther attended segregated public schools in Georgia, graduating from high school at the age of 15. He received a bachelor's degree in 1948 from Morehouse College, a distinguished Negro institution of Atlanta from which both his father and grandfather had graduated. In Boston, he met and married Coretta Scott, a young woman of uncommon intellectual and artistic attainments. 2 sons and 2 daughters were born into the family. In 1954, the Martin Luther King Jr. became pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. In 1957, he was elected president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization formed to provide new leadership for the now burgeoning civil rights movement. At the age of 35, Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest man to have received a Nobel Peace Prize. When notified of his selection, he announced that he would turn over the prize money of $54,123 to the furtherance of the civil rights movement. On the evening of April 4th, 1968, while standing on the balcony of his motel room in Memphis, Tennessee, where he was to lead a protest march in sympathy with striking garbage workers of that city, he was assassinated. Malcolm X was born on May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. Malcolm X was a prominent black nationalist leader who served as a spokesman for the Nation of Islam during the 1950s and 60s. Due to Earl Little's civil rights activism, the family faced frequent harassment from white supremacist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and one of its splinter factions, the Black Legion. Sporting flamboyant pinstripe zoot suits, he frequented nightclubs and dance halls and turned more fully to crime to finance his lavish lifestyle. This phase of Malcolm X's life came to the screeching halt in 1946 when he was arrested on charges of larceny and sentenced to 10 years in jail. Malcolm X was converted to the Nation of Islam while in prison, and upon his release in 1952, he abandoned his surname Little, which he considered a relic of slavery, in favor of the surname X, a tribute to the unknown name of his African ancestors. On the evening of February 21st, 1965, at the Durbin Ballroom in Manhattan, where Malcolm X was about to deliver a speech, 3 gunmen rushed to the stage and shot him 15 times at point-blank range.
Background on Malcolm X.
On Malcolm X?
Yes.
Well, I teach a class titled Martin, Malcolm, and Mandela, and I teach about the 3 men, of course, about Malcolm X, who was, of course, one of the most important personalities of America in the 50s and 60s. He had a major contribution to the civil rights movement. He is now still very much revered by a lot of people, African Americans, Africans who live in Africa, Africans who live in Europe, and of course even those who are not of African descent respect him, find him compelling, find him courageous. So clearly one of the people that need to be learned about.
Okay, so obviously everybody knows about Martin Luther King because he pretty much led the civil rights movement. Could you tell me a little bit of background knowledge about him and what your favorite aspect of him is?
Well, you're right. Martin Luther King is very much known, certainly better known than Malcolm X, because of his contribution to the civil rights movement, because also he was killed at the height of his career as a civil rights personality and leader. He also won the Nobel Prize of Peace, for peace. And he also was known as a staunch proponent of nonviolence. Of course, his contributions are many, but I love him and respect him for one particular aspect, that commitment to nonviolence. He wanted to change this country with regard to the use of violence as a means to an end. But beyond that, and this is the part that really is just remarkable about the man, he wanted to make violence disappear as a means for humankind to pursue goals. That simple. He was just beyond this world in terms of his philosophy and his approach to reaching goals without ever resorting to violence, regardless of the consequences on him and on the movement.
If you were somehow transported back into the late 50s and 1960s, would you have chose to follow Martin Luther King or Malcolm X?
Well, frankly, I think I would have found a way to acknowledge both as my leaders and to follow them when I feel that what they're doing suits my own purpose. Because they were truly complementary of each other. They brought different strengths and basically they covered each other's weaknesses. So it would be very hard for me to pick one or the other. I would have found a way to follow both.
Are you recording? Like, I was talking to Denise about that, like, in the cartoons, so they're like, It was fun. I like the music on WIR.
What is your general knowledge of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X?
Recording. Or
We
both.
are filming.
It just doesn't think, isn't it?
All right.
But this day and age it is. When I was coming up, we couldn't do both at the same time. You guys have all these new gadgets.
Newfangled gadgets. Okay. Oh, I get stuck. Oh, my one got stuck.
Dude.
What the hell? I kind of dig this. There's like the mirrors right. This is all weird because it's like backwards. Watch this. I'm gonna smash her. Hold up. This way. This way. No. Wait. This way. This hand's gotta go in. The one that's by my face. Squish. Wait, no. I wanna squish her. Who's that? That's the librarian. I'm gonna get her. She yelled at me last week for having a good book. Squish. Oh, she's walking now. She can't be doing that.